fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rid of the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top!
Oh my god! Oh. Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
This is very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go! Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Good evening, hello, and welcome to Phoenix. It's round 11 of the iRacing Rallycross series. We head to one of the more spectacular tracks on the schedule. Really interesting circuit here tonight for us for round 11 of the iRacing Rallycross series. My name is Jay Kennedy. Alongside me in the booth here at SimSpeed TV is Mr. Cameron Dance. Cam, it's been an awesome series so far. We've seen heaps of really cool action. Tonight we're going to have a really good show. Two massive fields. Our broadcast split though, 12 cars, which will mean we'll see the return of the LCQ.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fairly competitive night tonight with a lot of people registering and getting involved in the series, which is really good to see with what has been probably the best numbers we've had throughout the whole entire season so far. So really good to see, but there's some pretty big names in this race tonight, and it's going to make things very interesting, especially with that LCQ now into play.
Yeah, LCQ will always make it really fun. 12 cars, so every car will have a chance of making it to the main of 10 cars tonight. And a very strong field that we have. We're not too far off the drivers getting into qualifying. The practice session is just about to finish. Some names that we haven't seen in iRacing Rallycross previously out on track tonight. A very competitive field. Once again, don't forget we do have live timing available on our website as well at simspeed.tv/live timing. One of the keys to this circuit is the really interesting asphalt section for the Joker lap that then comes out right in the middle of the toughest corner on the circuit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really interesting corner, and it's very easy to get wrong, as we've seen on numerous occasions, and even in Pro Series there was times where people would go into the Joker and get it wrong at the end of it where it tightens up. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays into effect and whether people are going to get caught out by that extra little bit of a tightness, and also the transition from asphalt to dirt as well. So going to be really interesting, as we've currently got Rebecca Pauline on screen.
Yeah, she's just taken that Joker lap to go and start her flying lap. One of the few tracks that we have on the iRacing service where the start line and the finish line are actually side by side. So you actually get a full out lap to start your flying lap. As we said, the Joker lap will be really interesting. Very wide off the oval into turn one. Really want to straight line this section here through the S's. And then this jump. This is a huge jump, this one, and we've seen all sorts of chaos and mayhem here previously.
Yeah, absolutely. Get very crossed up there over the jump. And one thing to remember is that that jump is quite big, and it's actually easy to blow the engine up on, I believe, the Beetle and the Focus. So going to be something a lot of the drivers are going to have to keep an eye on and make sure they don't go full speed over that jump or a little bit too quick and just bottom out the car too much and blow the engine.
Rebecca Pauline puts in the first flying lap of a 36.3. Johan Harth does cross the line on his first flying lap, but it does not count. So we'll see what he does on his second run. Having some technical issues. Looks like the gap that Pauline has got is nowhere near as extreme as we saw last week. It was a huge gap first to second last week in qualifying. Definitely a stronger field at the front of the field this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Is obviously some different names that we haven't seen around this week, such as the likes of Schumann Cedric and Jan Lepovet and those sort of drivers. So it's really mixed this field up and going to make for an interesting night of racing, I reckon, especially with how close it's looking.
Half just goes to the top of the timesheets with a 35.9, so very short lap time here. Interesting thing too with the Joker lap is while it is not a huge amount of difference in regards to the distance, it does put you out a lot faster out on the circuit, so it is a big advantage to time that Joker correctly. And as we saw last week, the Joker really plays into the hands quite well of the drivers that play it very smart. We saw at Atlanta last week that the Joker really decided who won and lost that races, or the races there last week.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really different Joker this time out, because you basically come out on what is near on the apex or just after the apex of the dirt section, so you've kind of got to time it so that you don't get caught up in traffic, but you don't want to end up causing contact when you come out of the Joker as well. So possibly going to see a few incidents, possibly not. We'll really have to wait and see, because it's going to make all the difference. And with that extra wider line for the Joker, it's actually going to mean that getting onto the power is going to be a lot harder as well.
The other thing too is these tyre bundles, just at the end of the lap, that last little left-hand kink really throws a huge curveball for some of the drivers, because if you're battling side by side with someone coming up to the end of the race, you're not wanting to give room, and those tyre bundles, while they move, they do hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. And while they do hurt, it also can ruin your race in that it'll either damage your suspension in some way, or it could possibly even roll you. So, and then also even throw it onto the track in front of someone else behind you. So it's, yeah, going to be very interesting. And with that section, it's really a struggle to get the power down. So if you do get the line wrong, you can actually end up heading straight into one of those bundles, or both of them if you're that unlucky.
Looks like almost all of our drivers have finished their final laps. Just see Terry Humphries doing what we will see a lot of tonight, getting the jump completely wrong and running off the side of the jump. You can actually land in those tyre bundles on the side of the circuit. You have to be really careful not to get that jump too extremely wrong, because if you do, it will hurt your race, especially if it's coming down to the end, the LCQ, or even the final. If you get the jump wrong, that's the end of your night.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't want to end your night early, especially when it's only in the likes of the heat or the LCQ. You really do want to make it to that final race in the feature and get those points in, and also get that sort of victory if you can.
Stephen Jenkins about to cross the line, doesn't have enough time on the clock to cross the line and register a lap time. So heat 1 coming up right now. I've got 6 cars in both of our heats. Heat 1 has half Cedric, Lipravote, then Attard, Albert and Jenkins. Now 6-car field for heat 1. We said we've got 2 heats, an LCQ and a final, which means that we're going to have some really cool racing. Looking forward to seeing how this plays out. One of my favourite tracks on the iRacing service for Rallycross. It is a really cool circuit. We're going to see some really cool racing.
Yeah, hopefully it will. And that turn 1's going to be very interesting. And turn 2 as well, because it sort of closes up on the exit with that wall on the outside for the oval, and then tightens up even more for turn 2 with those bundles either side. So squeezing 3 wide into there, probably not advisable, but probably going to happen regardless.
Yeah, we'll see lots of 3 wide action coming through turns 1 and 2. Turn 1, leave the oval, sorry, leave the infield and onto the oval. We're away, and Hearth with a very good jump in front of the field, but there's contact between Cedric, and Cedric goes around. That was Cohen Attard that made a little bit of contact. 5 laps for all of our heats tonight, as per normal. 6 laps for the LCQ. 10 laps for our final. Attard and Albert into the tyre bundle.
Yeah, and that's just getting that jump wrong. I think there was a little bit of contact. No, there actually wasn't. It was all on his own, just carrying a little bit too much speed. And again, that's that whole just not lining the jump up and taking a little bit too much speed over it. Just hurts you so bad. And now Albert's right at the back of the field, and he'll have to do some serious work to try and catch up.
It's Attard absolutely clumps that tyre bundle coming into turn 1. He has destroyed the front of his Subaru, so hopefully he can get it around. But there may be a little bit of steering damage on that car. It does look like it does have a little bit of damage to the front. It is a little bit severe, as we're just seeing Albert come through, and Jenkins is going to take this Joker lap. This is what we've been talking about with the rejoin. You've got to be really gentle on the brakes to get it through the first part of the asphalt, and then as you start to get the corner right, the surface changes, and Jenkins just propels himself out ahead of Bo Albert. But at the front of the field, it is all looking very easy for Johan Hearth at the moment. He's got a 5-second lead. Sort of been helped a little bit by that contact at the start between Cedric and Attard.
Yeah, for sure. Quickest lap so far, and first car on track as well, so don't think anyone's really going to stand a chance of catching half at this point, but the battle for second currently between Leprovic and Attard is looking like it's closing up, and then Cedric's not too far behind as well.
And Attard hasn't taken his Joker lap either, so this could close up. 2 to go. Probably see Attard take this Joker on the final lap. And from memory, the Joker lap is around about 2.5 to 3 seconds advantage, so this could close up very, very quickly. I think Attard's going to take the Joker now. Here we go. Let's see how quickly this closes up. Going to come out side by side here. It's all about who can get this power down. And this is going to be tight. Attard with the run, pace advantage from being on the outside, but not able to use it. Final lap, white flag in the air. Who's going to take this race?
Oh, contact! Say that. Between the two of them, Attard's going to try and go around the outside. Not quite going to do it though.
Oh, and hits the wall. That's going to hurt Attard. He's actually got a fair bit of damage from that. He's just going to try and limp it home and make sure that Cedric doesn't come through. But it's all Johan Hath at the front of the field. An easy win in the end. He's going to win by about 8 seconds. Maybe even more. Everybody will come home in second. Attard will hold on for third, but it's on for fourth between Cedric and Albert. Albert's just done his Joker lap, gets a crossover done, and will finish in fourth. And that puts him into the main straight away. Cedric will have to go through the LCQ as well as Stephen Jenkins. What a very, very entertaining finish to that heat.
Absolutely. Great driving by Bo Albert there as well to be so heads up and just time that acceleration and exit of the Joker to be so they can get the crossover, and there was just enough room between the two of them to eventually get the nose in and get the job done.
So we now go into heat number 2. Pauline, McLeod, Aish, Mackenzie, Oliver and Humphreys, the 6-car field for heat number 2. Round 11 of the iRacing Rallycross series. This has been our biggest field we've seen all season. 23 cars in total registered for tonight's racing, so really good turnout. 5 laps ahead for the drivers in heat number 2. And a little bit of a jump for McLeod. Going to be worried about possibly having a penalty. We're away. Pauline, McLeod and Aish into turn 1. Looks like we're through all nice and safe. At the moment, it's a little bit of a push out. Dave Oliver and Terry Humphreys as McLeod is around. McLeod's gone straight ahead at turn 1.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what happened there. He just didn't even bother to take the turn by the looks of it, so
maybe
no
he had a black flag and
anything.
Possibly decided he didn't want to impact anyone else's race. As we're just seeing Humphreys and Oliver, a little bit of contact through the hairpin. Side by side through this section never worked. Somehow it did. Just see a tyre bundle getting absolutely destroyed up through turn 2. And Daniel Aish, all sorts of crossed up, just holds on. Darren McKenzie's going to try and take advantage here.
Yeah, McKenzie with a better run. That was a little bit too sideways for Aish there, coming through that initial section, but looking like he's just managing to get the power down a little bit better. He's keeping it on that lighter surface, which is where the worn dirt is, and he really want to just stay on that, so he minimised the amount of wheel spin, and it looks like he's done the job.
Rebecca Pauling did take the Joker on that last lap, so she's now got a 5-second lead. But Aisha McKenzie, very, very close at the moment. If one of these guys needs to take the Joker here, Aish does. Try and pull away from Darren McKenzie. McKenzie didn't take that jump very well there either, so that's going to lose him a little bit of ground. Also, there you see Dave Oliver taking the Joker as well. So Pauline now, a gap back to 3 seconds. Still a decent gap though. 2 laps remaining in this one.
Yeah, I think it's probably a fair assumption at this point that Pauline's going to walk away with this one once again. Continuous domination after previous weeks as well, so it's of no surprise that she's up there. But at the moment, what's McKenzie going to do? He's going to go for that Joker, so Siri pops out in relation to Aish. It's going to be really, really close.
See Aish on the inside. McKenzie's going to get the speed advantage on the outside line. Get it back down. He might be able to get a run into turn 1. White flag in the air when they cross the line. Final lap of this race. And Daniel H just does enough on his lap following the Joker to maintain that gap. It's still about the same as it was, but this isn't over between Aish and Mackenzie here. Daniel Aish needs to be really careful. He's made a few mistakes here, which could very easily cost him this second position.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really, really close between these two, but it's looking like it might be pretty well settled.
Doesn't look like Aish is able, Mackenzie's able to get the run out of the hairpin. Pauline does pick up the win. 5-second victory at the end over Daniel Aish and Darren Mackenzie. Good job, guys, putting on a good show there. Dave Oliver will be the last driver through to the main event from this second heat, finishing in 4th position. Terry Humphries and Mitch McLeod back of the field. McLeod with a penalty, we're fairly sure, from that start, and will cross the line in 6th position. So that is the results on screen right there for you. Pauline, Aish, Mackenzie and Oliver through to the main. Humphries and McLeod through to the LCQ, which is coming up right now. Cedric, Humphries, Jenkins and McLeod. 2 of these 4 go through to the main. The other 2 go home. Night over. We're about to get underway. Here come the lights. 6 laps of racing ahead for the drivers, and we are go. And a good jump at the front from Cedric. Cedric and McLeod would have to be the favourites in this race, but you can't discount Jenkins as McLeod straight through on both Humphries and Jenkins and jumps into 2nd place very, very quickly. Gonna see Jenkins take this Joker straight away though.
Yeah, Jenkins and Cedric both going for their Joker there to get it out of the way as
well. Oh, Cedric!
Build a gap. Oh! Run very wide there out of the Joker. Nearly actually hit the wall. He was actually up on 2/3 wheels there on the exit.
I thought he was about to roll and he was turning that hard to try and get it turned in.
Yeah.
Car just did not want to pitch in, but he's made it through successfully. Jenkins and McLeod is going to be the battle to watch here. On track at the moment, it doesn't look like it's much of a battle with a 2.5-second advantage or 2-second advantage. But we know as soon as McLeod takes the Joker, that gap will close up.
Yeah, absolutely. McLeod's got to really time this well and just keep the mistakes to a minimum at this stage. Just try to maintain the gap, or try to close it down at least for the time being until he takes that Joker, where he can really then start to push it and get back onto the tail of Cedric.
This lap time by, it looks like McLeod around about a second faster. McLeod does the fastest lap of the race at 37.6 versus Jenkins at 38.5. So we might see McLeod even get this done without the Joker. One thing he's got to be careful of is to not get held up by Jenkins. He needs to take the Joker before he gets there, because if he gets held up, Terry Humphries could pull a surprise and actually come through and get both of them. You can never discount any driver in Rallycross. Anything can and often does happen as McLeod's going to try and make the move. This can be dangerous, too wide through this section. And as a tyre bundle on the track.
Oh. McLeod just missed that, luckily. And it looks like he'll have to take the Joker if he really wants to make any gains on this lap, or he's going to get held up way too much.
Yep, I think he needs to take the Joker straight away. And there he goes, straight into the Joker. So that will push him up into 2nd position. Stephen Jenkins drops back to 3rd, but what that's done, it's meant Cedric has now got a, 6-second advantage pretty much over Mitch McLeod. Makes a little mistake, does Cedric. This doesn't look as smooth sailing as we may have expected for Cedric in this race.
He seems to be just making a few mistakes as McLeod has to pretty much just clobber one of the tyre bundles that has gone astray from its normal position. Same with Jenkins, but yeah, McLeod's looking like he might be able to do something here if he can just keep it mistaken. Cedric into another tyre barrier, so could possibly have more damage, and this will be really, really helping McLeod now.
Starting to feel a little bit of pressure from behind. Cedric, you just got to keep these mistakes to a minimum, because as it stands right now, he is safe, but he just lost 0.7 of a second through that last section of the circuit. And he's got a bit of damage. He's into the wall! 1 lap remaining. He's into the fence. Wow!
That was that looked like actually like a wheel failure maybe
Yeah,
or something.
some sort of mechanical issue there. That did not look normal.
Yeah, because it was sort of straight. It had a bit of a fishtail on coming off the dirt section, and then just suddenly after going straight, it pulled hard left and straight into the wall. So night over for Cedric, unfortunately, pretty much of almost, but to some extent his own fault, really.
Strange one. We'll hopefully find out later on what has gone on. But Mitchell McLeod will cross the line in first position, and Stephen Jenkins will come home in second. Those two will make it through to the main event in just a couple of moments' time. Terry Humphries will come home in third. It is his night over. And Cedric, what might have been there, finishes in fourth position in the end. But that was a bizarre incident, strange incident, but means that Cedric misses out and Jenkins does get through. Our main event on screen now. Hearth, Pauline, Leprevet, Aish, Attard, Mackenzie, Albert, Oliver. The two from the LCQ, McLeod and Jenkins, as we get ready to go green for 10 laps of racing in this one. Looking forward to seeing how this one plays out. There's a lot of drivers that could take this, but you think that Hearth and Pauline at the front will be the two to beat. Yeah, for sure. They've dominated the past few weeks of Rallycross, been super, super consistent and quick, so it's probably going to be on between those two for the win, but it's Rallycross. Anything can and probably will happen. Especially after last week where we saw almost all of the field taken out at the start of the race. Absolutely mixed up the field the whole way through as we go green. And a really good jump from Rebecca Pauline on the outside. She's going to scoot across and take the lead of this race. Cars around. In the wall goes Cohen Attard. Darren McKenzie through McLeod, Albert, Oliver, all involved in a huge, huge crash. Albert around. And the McKenzie and Aish also around.
Wow, wild start to this race. That was just unbelievable. As looks like Leprevet, Oliver Attard, and I think that and Aish have all taken their jokers by the looks of.
Looks like McLeod is done for this race. McKenzie at the back of the field. We will get a replay of that at the end of this race because we need to dissect exactly what happened there. But what we know right now is Johan Hearth has not taken his joker lap. Stephen Jenkins looks like he is out of the race as well. So they've got two cars sitting in the pits now. Wowee. That was not what I was expecting. I knew we'd have chaos at the start, but that was nowhere near what I was expecting.
It definitely was not what we were expecting. It went straight out the window of what you'd expect and basically gave us a complete fruit salad of what we thought was going to happen. So, yeah, completely different. And looking back at that Jenkins incident, I think he had contact coming up to the line between himself and I believe Aish. So, really unfortunate for Jenkins there, being pretty much an innocent party in that incident that he had.
Gap first to second at the moment, 3.7 seconds between Rebecca Pauline and Johan Hearth. So these guys are going to be really close when it comes time for this joker to be taken for Hearth. We come up to complete 3 of 10 laps of racing. Gap now down to 2.8 seconds, so Hearth is well and truly on a charge. That lap by 36.2, Pauline a 37.1, so 9/10 of a second advantage to Hearth. He can keep pulling that out. He may not even have to take the joker to take the lead of this race because he might be able to do it all on track.
Yeah, absolutely. That pace differential is absolutely massive to have, and like you said, he might not even need the joker to get one by, so we'll see what happens, but it's fair to say that he'll have the lead as he's just
clip that tyre
bundles.
Hearth does something I hadn't seen anyone else do. You're actually running 2 wheels on the dirt, on the tarmac through that car park section, and this makes a huge difference. So we are now at the halfway point of this race. Hearth now closes that gap down to 1.5 seconds. Bo Albert and Darren McKenzie also getting close. They're down to under a second. Neither of these two have taken their joker lap too, so they will come out right with Dave Oliver when they do decide to take that joker. Halfway through, Pauline now down to 1 second advantage. I think that Hearth will probably take the Joker this time by.
They probably will, but
So
we'll
he doesn't
have
get
to
held
see
up.
what happens. Yeah, but again, stays out on normal circuit, so
Surprised.
something he knows that we don't, but we'll see what happens. It'll either happen either next lap or you'll leave it really, really late and do it on the last lap.
This is what I'm talking about there. See, 2 wheels up on the tarmac just to get a little bit of traction, get the wheels down. What it does, it actually propels the car the wrong direction from where the next corner is as Rebecca Pauline slams into the tyre bundle coming into turn 1. This is on here, and don't forget Hearth is yet to take the Joker lap. That's going to change right now because here he goes. So Hearth into the lead of the race. And how much does Rebecca Pauline have to do to get that lead back? Get an official time update in just a moment. 2.9 seconds. It's a fairly big difference. He said it was around about 3 to 3.5 second advantage, and that is what we are now seeing with Hearth in the lead of the race. Really good timing for him to take that Joker lap. Bo Albert and Darren McKenzie still yet to take their Joker laps. McKenzie's dropped off the back of Bo Albert. He's got Cohen Attard coming up very, very quickly. Daniel Aish also not too far away from the rear of the field. Albert might close in on Dave Oliver here, depending on when he takes this Joker lap. Likely will jump ahead. What a night of racing we've seen. The start of that race has just been so bizarre. A strange start to the night.
Yeah, absolutely. There was pretty much all sorts going on in the turn 1 and 2 with just cars going left, right in every direction you can think of. But look at that battle between Albert and Oliver. It's clear that Albert's well and truly going to jump Oliver as he's gone about 4 tenths quicker, roughly. So it's a pretty decent gap to have closed down in another lap. And again, he stays out to wait another lap while McKenzie goes for his Joker.
I hope he's remembered that you actually have to do Joker laps in Rallycross, because we know how much he races GT racing. Darren McKenzie remembers to take the Joker, because look where he's come out, right with Bo Albert, and as expected, not too far from Dave Oliver. White flag in the air. This is the final lap of the race. So Albert, the only driver still out on track yet to take the Joker, will need to do so on this lap. But Johan Hearth comes through the final corner for the final time. What a victory it's ended up being. What a drive in the middle phase of that race to get clear of Rebecca Pauline. Just timed it perfectly, timed that run really well, and a great result. Rebecca Pauline will finish in second. Bo Albert is going to jump to 4th position.
I believe so. He's just done the Joker and got ahead of Dave Oliver.
Yep. Bo Prevette finishes in 3rd. Fairway back. Bo Albert will finish in 4th. As you said, just ahead of Dave Oliver in 5th. Darren McKenzie will finish in 6th position. Cohen Attard in 7th. Daniel Aish will be the last car. But we need to dissect the start of that race, because that was bizarre. That was a strange set of incidents that we had at the start of that one. Let's try and pick up a CPR replay from that start. Coming up on screen now. McLeod, one of the cars that had huge involvement in the start of that race. See the car there of Daniel Aish on the outside.
Looks like
McLeod
Aish
actually got drilled from behind, did he?
I think he did actually. And that incident all started when McKenzie actually gave Aish a little bit of a bump. And looking at McLeod, yeah, McLeod got actually hit quite hard by Albert, which then also McLeod hit into Aish, and from that point everybody behind was just had nowhere to go and got involved in some way or another.
On board with Dave Oliver. So there's already the first part of the incident happening ahead. Then you'll see a big hit from behind. Oliver into, Albert into McLeod, into Aish, and then Oliver, which is all just opened up ahead of him there to get on through. So what a bizarre night of racing we've had here for iRacing Rallycross. Results on screen. Hearth, Pauline, I prevent your top 3. Don't forget the action does continue here on SimSpeed TV over on the iRacing Esports Network in around about half an hour's time. Round number 6 of the Alpine Stars Geodesic Racing Sprint Series Australasia. Looking forward to that one, Cam. Should be a good night of racing. We head to Road America for sprint racing action.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 20-minute sprint races with a grid on the second one of the finishing order and the second race of the finishing order of the first race. So going to be really interesting to see who comes out on top. And with it being Road America, it'll be really, really interesting to see who comes out on top and having that draft play into effect as well.
Next week as well, we will be back at the same time for iRacing Rallycross, the final round of the championship. We head to Iowa, one of the cooler tracks. We started the season off for broadcasting anyway at that circuit. We finished the season off there. Also, big week here on SimSpeed TV. Of course, Thursday night we have Formula 3. Head to Belle Isle, which should be a really, really cool night of racing there. Then Sunday night, the one that everyone has been waiting for, the anticipation is building. It's going to be a fantastic season of V8 Scops thanks to VRS and West End Mazda. Of course, Monday night as well, we will be back for iRacing official V8 Supercars thanks to Aussie Driver Search. Cam, thanks for jumping in once again. It was a really, really fun night of racing.
Yeah, no worries. It was Rallycross seems to always turn it on, so we'll see how Iowa goes, and hopefully it's just as good.
Yep. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you stick with us here on SimSpeed TV over on the iRacing Esports Network in about half an hour for Sprint Series Australasia. Until then, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now. He's got traction. He's got everything outside of both of them. Maloney. Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to him. Oh my God. Oh, big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Six very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no. That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?